Hello everyone, this is JPL, and today I want to talk about the new episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars. That's right, Season 7 of Star Wars The Clone Wars has released, and so we have a brand new set of episodes to talk about. I myself was a fan of Star Wars The Clone Wars since the very beginning. I remember watching the very first trailer for the Star Wars The Clone Wars movie. I was in Brazil at the time, and when I saw the trailer, I thought, this cannot be. There cannot be another Star Wars movie. There should only be 6. My stubborn 8-year-old mind was. Or was it 6? I don't know, one of those numbers. But I watched the movie and I loved it. And then the TV show came out and I watched it all and I loved it. And so I've been watching the Clone Wars since the very beginning, growing up with it and just loving every episode that came out. And so today I'm not exactly going to do a review of the episode because there has been a lot of reviews. I've reviewed The Bad Batch on my channel before. I reviewed every episode of the Clone Wars by Arc. They're not good reviews. They're just me talking about the notes I took about the good and bad things about the episodes. Just general observations. Today I want to specifically talk about the comparisons between this episode and the unfinished episodes that was released years ago. If you did not know, these next few sets of episodes were released online years ago in unedited formats. And so, while I was watching the brand new episode that came out, I noticed that immediately there were some differences between the two. Mostly, it fits very well. But there are some small details that are changed, and I just want to make this video to just talk about the comparison of the two and show you examples about the changes that were made. I'm not going to do this for every single episode, just the ones where there are differences between the two versions. So let's get started. The most notable difference from the very beginning of this episode is the opening announcement. And when I was watching the episode, the new one, in the morning, I thought it felt really weird. And so I compared the two ones, the ones that was released years ago and the one now. And when I listened to both of them, the newer one is sped up.
The battle for Anaxis. The home of the Republic shipyards is under attack from Admiral Trench's separatist forces. The battle for Anaxis. One of the Republic's largest shipyards is under attack from Admiral Trench's separatist forces.
And it's very confusing why that is. I mean, the older one was very clear, calm, and understandable, and timed perfectly. And the new one, just the timing of it just felt rushed and too fast, and kind of sloppy at times. But yeah, that's my opinion, and you can have your own idea and tell me what you think about it. The next difference is actually the biggest one of this entire episode, and that's the explanation to why the clones keep losing and why the droids keep winning the battles. And when I was watching the episode, I was very surprised because I thought, hey, that's not what it was. It was about an algorithm. What are you talking about? And so if you watch the original one, basically the reason why the droids were winning was because there was an algorithm that Rex and Echo and Fives made about their battle tactics. And the reason why the droids were winning is because Echo, when he died on the Citadel, he had a copy of the algorithm on him, and the droids took that, decrypted it, and now they know the information. And that was the understanding with this one.
But Rex here has a good theory on why we keep losing.
Please, Captain.
Well, as you know, I've studied our battle lines for some time. Developed an algorithm to counter all our tactical tendencies, with the hope we could use it to shore up our weaknesses. Since this battle for Anaxis started, the Separatists have always been one step ahead of us. If I'm right, Admiral Trench has my algorithm, and he's using it to predict our strategies. It's just, I don't know how he got it. My data files are heavily encrypted.
Did anyone else know about your work?
Well, Fives knew, but he's gone. And then only one other trooper. Echo.
We lost Echo at the Citadel.
Yes, sir. I know. But I also know Echo, and he could never leave well enough alone. Used to recheck that algorithm every day, just to cut the tension of battle. Kind of a hobby. He might have had it on him when he died.
And so when you compare it to the second version, the newer version, they take out the algorithm completely in this first section here. And so their explanation is, whenever we do a battle tactic, the droids remember that, and then they'll use it against us if we do that again. Which makes sense. That's a standard thing. You can actually see that in an early episode of the Clone Wars in Season 1, during the Ryloth arc, when Obi-Wan was taking over the city, the droid analysis noted that, oh, this is General Kenobi. Let's download his file.
So, it's General Kenobi who is leading this assault. He is known for his deceptive maneuvers.
Roger, roger. Download his file.
And so I guess they're touching up on that here. But what's very odd about this one is just the explanation just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He's saying like, oh, we're trying out different tactics to just mix up our game here so that they won't figure out what we're doing.
But Rex here has a good theory on why we keep losing.
Please, Captain.
Well, the droid army uses analytics to predict our strategy. The first time we use a tactic, it's very effective. The next, less so. In fact, the more we use a certain tactic, the less effective it becomes. They learn our tendencies and use that data against us. To counter them, we're constantly working out ways to vary our attack.
But the losses we are experiencing on Anaxis are not commonplace.
Exactly. The counterattacks are so specific, it's my strategy that droids know. My playbook. My concern is that Rex is one of our best. If the droids can learn to defeat him, we may all be vulnerable.
And it's just an odd way of wording this whole situation, I feel, personally. Because when I watch this, it's like, okay, so we're not doing the algorithm, let's toss that out. So it's just going to be Rex and Echo that works on these plans. And somehow the droids know Rex's plans. I don't know. I personally feel like it would make much more sense if they kept the algorithm in it and that Echo had the algorithm on him and they took it from that. Because the way they explain it now, they have no idea how or why this thing is happening until we see this next scene coming up here. Now, the next big scene that happens is Rex is in his bunker looking at a picture of his friends. When this thing happened, I was confused because I did not remember this whole thing at all. So this is a brand new scene that's within this episode, and I thought that was really cool. Rex, while he's looking at the image, if you actually take a closer look at the image, it's actually incorrect. It's a continuity error. What you see is you see all these characters, Cody, Fives, Echo, and Rex, and they're in their Mach 2 armor. However, Echo died in Season 3 before they got into the Mark II armor. And so, it's clearly not the truth because Echo died before Cody or Rex got into that new armor. So yeah, that's a continuity error. Although you could make an argument that Rex is secretly an artist who drew this nice image of his friends just to keep them alive. And so when Rex is talking about his friends that died, his brothers that died, he makes note of Fives and Echo. And, he talks very emotionally about them. And this isn't exactly part of the comparison. This is just something that's an observation I thought was odd. Rex also mentions Heavy.
Fives, Echo, before that Heavy. There's so many troopers gone.
And when I thought about that, I thought, hey, why did you say Heavy? Rex didn't really know Heavy. He met Heavy once on that Rishi outpost, and Heavy died in that episode. So Rex wasn't really at all close to Heavy. It was Fives and Echo who grew up with Heavy and part of the Domino Squad. And then he died. It would make more sense if Five or Echo was the one thing about Heavy. But why Rex? You know, you'd think that Rex would be thinking more about Echo and Fives, Tup, Red Eye, Hardcase, all the other clones, Waxer, that he actually spent most of the time that he'd been fighting with, instead of just Heavy, this one rookie that he met one day and died on the first day. Don't get me wrong, it's a really touching scene, but it does bring up the question about why he thinks about Heavy so fondly. All clones are brothers, but that one specifically. I do feel like it was mentioned just because he's a fan favorite character, and it's like, let's talk about Heavy for a moment so that the fans can connect to that moment. So this next bit is, I think, probably a big controversial part of this episode. If for people who saw both different versions of the episodes, this is one I don't really agree with the change.
I didn't tell the generals. They might think I'm crazy. In fact, you might think I'm crazy. Well, what is it? I think Echo's alive. That's not possible. He died at the Citadel. The way the droids are countering us here, the strategies I'm using, they're all old battle plans Echo and I drew up together.
Rex flat out says, I think Echo is alive. Which, it makes sense because, the droids they know my tactics, and it's only me and Echo and Fives that did this together. And it's like, oh, it must be that he's alive. It's the only logical conclusion. However, I just feel that it takes away from the big reveal at the end of the episode. In the original version, it doesn't mention at all that Echo was alive until the very end when we see the message of Echo's calling out his name. And so, with that, when it happens here, Rex says, no, it can't be.
CT-1409. CT-1409.
I don't believe it.
And it doesn't exactly work too well because he already has a suspicion that Echo is alive. And so when it's confirmed, the reaction to no, it can't be, it doesn't work too well in this version. It's not impossible that would be the case. However, I just think that it's not very likely. If you suspect someone to be alive and it's confirmed, your response is, what? That can't be. It's more like, I knew it. That would be your reaction to that. So, besides all of this, these are the main ones that are different in this episode. So anything after this is just going to be some minute details. The one big thing that I think I was probably the most surprised of was that they redesigned the B-1 battle droids. And maybe fans or other people didn't really notice it at first. However, what I noticed was that these droids had a much thinner snout, or whatever you call that. And when I saw that, I thought it looked so weird, because before, and even in the old one, we had the normal thicker snout that more reflects the movies. However, this one, the new redesign, reflects more of the Rebels appearance of the B-1 battle droids, which I don't really like this change of design. I don't like the thinner look of the B-1 droids. I prefer the thicker look. And I don't know why they changed the assets that just look like that. It really looks weird, and it kind of messes with my mind when I look at it. Because throughout the show, the B1s have never been updated in their design in this. And so this being the only time, it's going to be weird if you watch the show all together and then you watch the final season and it's like, there's slightly something different with those characters. I don't know. It's just the way I see it. Another change is that when Wrecker takes a Cody out of the gunship, he yells out boom, which becomes a catchphrase in this episode. If you look at the older version, that catchphrase is not there, which I think it's a nice added touch to this character, where he has a catchphrase that says "Boom," and I don't know, it's kind of cute. So here I'm going to make note that there's a couple appearances where they talk about the algorithm and how the clones know the algorithm. And it's like, the algorithm was a term that was not used earlier in the episode. And so when they said it here...
They must know about the algorithm. Okay, I'm in. What am I looking for?
Here's the algorithm. You're looking for a program using this sequence.
When I was watching the episode, of course I know the original text had algorithm at the beginning. So when they didn't have it in the beginning the second time, I immediately just thought of this as, what if I was a new person watching this? And I'd probably think, what the heck is the algorithm? What are you talking about? Until Rex comes in and says, here's the algorithm. I didn't know that you had it on file at hand. I thought you never explained it, that it was that kind of situation. So, yeah, algorithm. It's just, it's one of those things that I wish that they touched up more in this, instead of just leaving the original dialogue there. Just change it if you made a change at the beginning, you know? Yeah, so that's that issue there. And the very last notable piece of difference that I noticed in this is just at the very end of the episode, the last line.
That number, Cap. What did it mean? CT-1409. That was Echo's number. That was Echo. That number, Cap. What did it mean? CT-1409. That was Echo's number. He's alive.
In the original version, when Rex finds out, when he talks about and confirms that Echo was alive, he says, that's the voice of Echo. That was Echo. In this brand new version, instead of saying that was Echo, he says he's alive, which I think is a much better version. It's much more like, my friend, he's alive, my brother, instead of just saying that was Echo. I don't know, I think it just flows as a more natural line that comes out.
These guys are real?
So yeah, that's all the stuff that I noticed that are different in between the two different versions. So if you saw anything different that you want to take note, tell me in the comment section below. And if you saw the same thing, good for you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.